What's up, YouTube? So before we get started, on Undisputed, they're going to be talking about Antonio Brown and his introduction press conference to the Oakland Raiders. So let's see what they have to say about this.
He got so much knowledge of the game. He's coached some of the greatest players ever, so he knows what it takes. You know, he's done been around the game, from in the game, outside the game, and his knowledge is so amazing. He did his homework on me. He done seen every play I played in, every interception. He got the details. He's a highly professional guy. I know still the nation is having a bad day today, but it's always love. I encourage every kid who watched me work and are inspired by everything I've done. And I hope I continue to be a good example, continue to be a good role model, and continue to inspire people all over.
Shannon, what do you make of what you heard Zafra may be there?
That's how you get some skill. That soft-spoken voice. Hopefully I can continue to inspire.
Ooh, I like
your
that.
role model.
That is true.
That's well done.
Look, I take everything he said with a grain of salt.
Okay.
One aspect of the role model is absolutely true. You look at a guy that came from a very impoverished city in Florida, Liberty. I think he's from Liberty City.
Yeah, he is.
Goes to Central Michigan,
yeah.
And was a sixth
Sixth
round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and for 9 years was on a Hall of Fame arc. Had caught more passes, 6 straight 100-catch seasons, average 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns during that span. But when you talk about role models don't quit on the team in week 17.
Okay, Shannon, you want to talk about role models? What about your boy LeBron a couple weeks ago when there was still time left on the clock and he just walked out because they were losing so bad? What about when LeBron walked away and there's still time left on the clock? Is that what type of example you should be setting? Is that what role models do? You just give up on your team like that? He walked off. It's like, I'm not associated with these guys. I'm not associated with these losers. And he just walked off. Is that what a role model does? And what about last year in the playoffs, the first game against Golden State, when he scored, 60 points? And then J.R. Smith did his thing towards the end, ran the clock out, messed it up. He sat there and pouted. He gave up on his team. And they went into overtime. They still had a chance to win it. I don't think he even scored a point in overtime in game 1 last year against Golden State. Is that what role models do? Because he gave up. And also, what about him giving up this year because there's a super small chance that they're going to make the playoffs. But he's like, let me just go and sit it down. Let me just go and sit it down because it doesn't look good. We're probably not going to make it. Is that what you're talking about, giving up? Is that what? Let's make sure you keep your same consistency and logic when you talk about Antonio Brown when you do it with LeBron James. So let's keep going, Shannon.
Role models do not behave like he's behaved in the last 4 to 5 years in Pittsburgh. So there are aspects that you would definitely want your kid to aspire to be when it comes to Antonio Brown, but there's a hell lot more that you would want no parts of your child behaving like this. Skip, this what.
Okay, Shannon, so what about LeBron James throwing his teammates under the bus? What about that? What happened last year? He threw his teammates under the bus. He was such a bad role model that Kyrie had to leave. His right-hand man had to leave. He had to kick rocks because he didn't want to deal with LeBron stuff. Is that what you want as a role model? And if you want to talk about Antonio Brown being a role model and some of the stuff off the field, my kids, if I had them, I would have them be looking at what Antonio Brown does on the field. We're not too worried about what goes on off the field, especially if my kids like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're only going to be looking at what he does on the field. I'm not going to be talking to my kid about, Antonio Brown got in trouble for going to the club last night. Well, Antonio Brown got a DUI. All we're going to focus on is, can you play like him? Let's get you playing like him so we can get to the league so you have an opportunity to live his type of lifestyle. So let's keep going.
Saying now, in 2017, when the Steelers gave him that big extension, I think he got like $18, $19 million guaranteed. I can be more of a better leader, being vocal. We can all be better because they ask him about the Facebook Live post in the locker room. I don't come into the year thinking about numbers and such. I just want to be accountable to being my best self. Accountable to his best self. Oh, he wants to be accountable by quitting on his team. Now, Skip, I get it. If you're nicked up, this is what normally happens. I don't know if it still goes this way. If you're nicked up, normally they have you come in and you get treatment. And the athletic trainer, well, how do you feel today? If there were a game today, Shannon, could you play? It'd be close, Greek. It'd be close. I might need a little help, but I definitely would give it a go. Okay, come in on Thursday. Shannon, how you feel? we got to get a little better than this. Steve Antonopoulos with our afternoon training. We call it Friday. Saturday, Greek, I'll be good to go. But I've been there going through, talking to him. I don't leave on a Monday talking about I'm a little nicked up and then have my agent call and say I'm good to go on Saturday. Where do they do that at?
Yeah, Shannon, where does your boy LeBron James do that at? They do that in LA now? Because LeBron, I know you had your little growing injury, but can you play? Oh, you can still play? But you don't want to play because, it doesn't look too good for the playoffs? Because you're giving up on your team your boys that you threw your whole team under the bus? So 95% of the team's getting traded? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, let's keep going.
No, AB, come on. Like I said, and then I don't know who idea was, Skip. Was it him or the Raiders? For me, Skip, I'm a guy that likes to function in anonymity. If I'm going to go meet Derek Carr, I don't need cameras. And John, if it's not the Raiders, John was like, oh, wait a minute. He might not even be our quarterback. What you hugging him for?
That is a fact.
And Shannon, I hate to keep getting on your boy, but you got to use and apply the same logic to everybody. So you talking about Antonio Brown and Derek Carr don't need cameras? Okay, so what happened when LeBron first went to Miami? Do you remember that press conference? You guys out there? Remember he says, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4 championships. The whole charades with the sparks and the firecrackers and all this going off when LeBron James went to Miami. But he's tripping on Antonio Brown, having a little interview with him and Derek Brown or Derek Carr. Is that what you're talking about, Shannon? And what about when LeBron James first got here? He couldn't even talk to anybody. It took him weeks when the first time he talked to the head coach, Luke Walton. That's his head coach. And a number of other people he didn't talk to that have been Lakers because LeBron is so important. You just came here. You should be talking to everybody else. You're the new one. Is that what you're talking about, Shannon? Okay, let's keep going. And make sure you apply the same logic to everybody.
It's just too much. I just believe that everything that he was doing, he could have done that in anonymity. Look, pick up the phone. Hey, Derek, what you doing, bro? I think we need to get together. Okay, run some routes. This is how I like it. Derek said, well, I like to put the ball here. You go through all that. Skip, this is the honeymoon period. He said these very same thing when the Steelers gave that $18, $19 million in 2017. So coming into last year, he had all that money. Said all that. He going to be a leader. He going to be accountable. And now he's an open.
Yeah, so I kind of remember LeBron James doing the same thing. I want to be a leader. I want to be accountable. Things aren't going so good in LA. It's time to start pointing fingers. We need to get rid of 95% of our team. Did he meet up with Luke Walton? We need to sit down. We need to talk about this. What type of system do you want to run? How do you run practices? How do you do this? How do you do that? No, there's none of that. He didn't do any of that with Luke Walton or anybody else. The only person he met with was Magic Johnson. That's all he met with. So you want to get an Antonio Brown because he didn't have a one-on-one conversation with Derek Carr, just one-on-one? They brought a camera? Won't you apply the same consistency and logic that you do with Antonio Brown to LeBron James? Stop swinging from LeBron James. Let's keep going.
For what? Because he's accountable? Because he said one thing at the very end. He said, I'm going to be accountable to myself. Tell my teammates, what is the best for AB? What's best for Mr. Big Chest?
Mr. Big Chest.
Well, maybe for all the trouble that he's had, Shannon, that he's probably just spoke. Let me focus on myself. Let me make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then everybody else take care of themselves. That's what I kind of want to hear from Antonio Brown. Kind of. He wants to take care of himself. One thing I don't like is him talking about, oh, well, I hope I can be a good role model. Well, what do you mean you hope you can be a good role model? You should be able to control yourself. What do you mean you hope? You're not in control of yourself? That's the only thing I kind of have trouble with. But let's keep going.
I'm going to go you 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 better. For me, this entire press conference was straight Saturday Night Live skit. I had at least 3 literal laugh out louds at what I read. I didn't watch it first. I read it first.
Okay.
And Mr. Gruden? Let's see how long that lasts.
Exactly.
Mr. Gruden.
Yeah.
listen, Mr. Gruden will get in your face.
Yes, he will.
And it was funny because he did say, Antonio, that I love Mr. Gruden. He's an offensive guru, but he doesn't just tell you how good you are. He tells you to focus on things that can make you even better. Translation, he's going to get on your behind and stay on your behind. And Antonio is not going to always love that.
No.
Trust me on that. Then he said, I want to be more of a professional now. He's 31 years of age after 9 years. After
now
9
you want to be
years
a
in the
pro.
league. So he decided to undo the blonde mustache, and he went back to the black one. Okay, fine. And he didn't show up in a helicopter or like a Bentley.
He showed up 25 minutes late.
Okay, and he
hear
was
that?
late.
Yeah,
Thank you
late.
for bringing that up.
Not a good
25
sign.
minutes late. And speaking of late, he said, because I want to be more of a professional, I'm going to be the leader of the receivers, and to your point, hold the receivers accountable. By finding each other, we want to find each other for drop passes, missed routes, or for being late. What was he notorious for in Pittsburgh? Late.
Even if he chose to come at all.
Did he have the press conference time wrong? I mean, that's a horrible way to start.
What are you doing? I don't know. Is this not laughably ironic? You know, like
Yes.
So I'm not going to completely defend Antonio Brown. That's just a bonehead, stupid move. Showing up late. 45 minutes late? I mean, what else do you have to do than to show up at your new team? And you show up late? That's just a bad first impression, man. A bad first impression. Now, whatever he did in Pittsburgh, I'm going to kind of overlook it because now he has a fresh start. He has a new start. But if he was known as being late at Pittsburgh, and then on your first press conference in Oakland, you show up late, not a good sign. That's not what I want to be seeing. That's not what I want to be seeing. Because if you're going to do that now, we haven't even started playing yet. You know, we haven't started losing yet. We haven't gelled yet. And you're already doing this. Let's wait till things really start getting bad. So let's keep going.
what are you doing?
And all that sounds good, Skip.
And then to your point about I want to continue to be a great role model, and you talked about all the on the field, in the locker room, Pittsburgh Steelers stuff. Off the field, I don't want to pile on, but he's had some incidents. The one just within the last few months where he got mad and threw items off his balcony high rise that were falling many stories down. You know how dangerous that is.
Very.
And the guardian of some 2-year-old at the pool sued him because it endangered the 2-year-old.
Right.
Well, is that role model stuff?
No.
I mean, I can go on and on about other incidents off the.
You know, that is bad. That's another bonehead idiot move. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? But again, when I think of role model, some of the things go off the field, but the majority of it is what he's doing on the field. Am I really going to have kids look at Antonio Brown like, look what he's doing off the field. Look what he does off the field. No, we're looking at what he does on the field primarily. And if he's a good guy outside of it, that's icing on the cake. But pretty much, if I'm teaching kids to look at a superstar, look at what he does on the court so you can be like him. And then once we get to that level, we'll teach you how to act off the field. I don't know, maybe together, but still, it's primarily what he's doing on the field. So let's keep going.
Field. Stop it. And then my biggest belly laugh came from, he said, my goal is to catch Jerry Rice. His goal wasn't to win a Super Bowl for the Oakland Raiders, but to catch Jerry Rice.
Hold on, Skip. Hold on.
Whoa.
I never come into a year thinking about my numbers and such.
Wait.
Wait.
It don't make sense.
Wait. You know, if LeBron says his goal is to catch Kareem, I'm like, well, you got a shot. It's a long shot, but you got a chance.
Right.
You think he's going to do it, and I give him a shot. But at least he's in the ballpark. He's in the universe with Kareem. Listen, Jerry Rice has twice as many receptions and touchdowns as Antonio does now.
Well, if he stays on the historic
Okay,
pace that he's on as far
I
as
got it.
catches.
Okay.
But yardage and touchdowns, nobody's catching Jerry, Skip.
Okay.
And that's why Jerry Rice is the GOAT. Let's keep going.
Just on yards. Let's do yards. It's 22,895. Yeah, it's 27. I'm sorry, I can't read my writing. 27,895 to 11,207.
Okay.
You would have to do, and Jerry played 20 years.
20 years.
So if you could play your 10 or 11 more years and stay on this pace, you might come close. You might, but if that's your publicized goal at your intro press conference, it's a bad sign.
Yeah,
It's,
what about
it's
that
like,
winning?
I want my number. I need big numbers.
What about the winning? What about the winning? You hear a whole lot about winning? I'm here to win championships. You know, I was when I was at the break.
Okay, so wait a minute, Shannon. What about LeBron said that he wants to, he's not worried about, he doesn't have anything to prove. What was that a couple weeks ago? Didn't he say that he has nothing to prove? He's not trying to chase rings. You know, he doesn't, anything that happens with the Lakers, it's just icing on the cake. What about when he said that, Shannon? LeBron was like, I've got nothing to play for. I've done everything I can do. So whatever else happens after this, it's just icing on the cake while I'm with the Lakers. That's it. Is that what you want to hear from a role model, from a leader? You not only did Antonio Brown just says, you know, he just talked about his numbers. He wants to get his numbers. He wants to be like Jerry Rice. He didn't say anything about winning. But LeBron took it an extra step further. He says, not only I'm not worried about winning. If we don't win, I have nothing to prove. I've done everything I can do. Anything that happens from here on out is icing on the cake. That's even worse what Antonio Brown said, Shannon. That's even worse. Let's keep going.
I was close. I think I was like to break Ozzy's record. I was like 100 and something, 115. I didn't mention it. I did mention it, but you know what I said first, Skip? I said, I'm here to win. I said, I'm here to win a championship. And I said, I can't think of a better place to be than have.
You already brought two with you.
Right.
Okay.
And nobody was going to ever say, well, he's a bad leader. Well, he was bad in the locker room. Skip, I get the fine system, but it worked because I didn't look at myself as above Ed, above Rod, or above the guys because I was more accomplished. If I dropped the pass, Sharpe, you got to pay for that. And they might charge me double because they say, bro, you going to the Hall of Fame. You got to make that catch.
Oh, wow. So is LeBron James accountable for when he messes up? Is LeBron James accountable for when his team's not winning? I mean, you got to apply the same logic and the same consistency that you do for other players that you do for LeBron James. I mean, come on.
So I looked at myself. Mm-hmm. They treated me as if I was one of them, not better than them. Mm-hmm. Dude, you doing all this talk. And I get it, Skip. You know, he like you said, he tried to be more polished. He did away with the blonde mustache. Mm-hmm. He cut the dreads off, got a little haircut. He's 25 minutes late. And then here he is talking about all self. Okay. We'll see. Honeymoon, honeymoon. Ooh, everything. We going to Tahiti. You in the Maldives. You know what I'm saying, Jenny? We up one of them little yachts. I was just looking the other day. I was looking at one of them little huts. They got in the Maldives. Skip. They go out in the water. And I'm like, ooh, look at that.
To one of those.
They bring you fruit down and all that.
Sounds great.
I was like, ooh, what out there? Man, and you just imagine if you got married and went down the honeymoon. Boy, you're like, ooh, I'm in heaven. I have found Mr. Right.
And then what happened?
And as soon as you get home and there ain't no water and it's not blissful, you just like the rest of them. You won't pick up your clothes. You don't help me with these kids. You ain't cleaning nothing. We're going to find out.
And that alarm clock goes off.
You know, exactly.
Shannon, just keep that same energy with LeBron, okay? Because the honeymoon was over very quickly when LeBron got to L.A. and things weren't working out pretty soon. The honeymoon was over quickly with LeBron James. And you see how much he's pouting now. He's going to get rid of 95% of the team. Luke is going to get rid of the coach. So apply your same energy to LeBron James as you do with Antonio Brown. And by the way, for you guys, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Let's keep going.
That's the thing. Because they're like, I wake up at 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. Oh, that ain't no problem. And the first time the alarm clock go off at 3 a.m., don't cut the lights on. Well, how the hell am I supposed to see how to get up out of here if I can't cut no lights on? Mm-hmm. John Gruden, you about to find out.
They're just smiling at each other.
Yeah.
Fresh relationship.
I am
Mr. Gruden.
Mr. Gruden, and he's just looking on with a smile.
Okay. And that's the thing. See, people look at, if you don't know John, see, people have this idea because most people know him, Skip, from the ESPN gig.
It's a little different, right?
Well, he held a play for. Yeah. He's not an easy coach to play for.
I know for a fact.
You know that.
And by the way, John Gruden wore a coat and tie to this. That's been a long time since I've seen him in that.
Yeah, and he still got that Mark Davis haircut.
Yeah,
that old Great Clips haircut.
He always had that.
$100 million. He got a $14.95 haircut.
Well, I hope the honeymoon period continues a little bit longer than that trip.
That's what the Rooney thought.
Yeah, that's what we all will hope. Either way, we got to switch gears.